in the division and on the outside looking in of the AFC playoff picture. Okay, we've said this 100 times. Let's say it again. If the playoffs were to start today, the Chiefs would not be in it. Does it feel like the Chiefs' reign, at least in this division, is over, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. The Broncos clearly have a stranglehold of this division. Here's the reality with where the Chiefs are. They're a mediocre football team right now. They are a mediocre football team. If you look at their record of 5-5, those 4 losses, don't talk about the Jags game. When they lost to Denver, they only led for 5 minutes and 45 seconds. When they lost to Buffalo, they only led for 2:48. When they lost to Philly, 2:44, and they lost to the Chargers, and they never led. So we're talking about only leading out of those 4 games for like 11 minutes. And they got to play the Colts next week. It's an offense right now that Patrick's made unbelievable plays. Yesterday, Denver said, Kelsey's not going to beat us. Worthy's not going to beat us. Rasheed Rice averaged 6 yards per catch. Rasheed Rice, a #1 receiver in the league. Okay? 2, they will not run the football when they have to. Buffalo and Denver both said, we'll dare you to run the ball. They didn't. I think they ran it 13 times yesterday, coming off of what they did against Buffalo a couple weeks ago. And this defense that has been notorious for finding a way in the fourth quarter. Chris Jones, Karlaftis, somebody make a sack, McDuffie out of pressure, get a blitz, get home. They can't right now. And so, yeah, this is a flirting with mediocrity football team that just numbers-wise, because they play the Colts next week, it's a very real conversation of, are they going to get into the playoffs or not? So, yeah, the reign in the West is over.
Dan, what do you think?
Very aggressive by you, Danny-O. Very aggressive. I can't agree because there's not a world where I see the Chiefs and the Ravens missing the playoffs. Do I think they figured the things out? Absolutely. Do you feel extremely confident in the Chargers? Yes. Do you really feel extremely confident in the Broncos? They found ways to win. It was very promising to see Bo Nix's performance yesterday. But needless to say, the issue that I'm having with the Kansas City Chiefs, yes. The issue that I'm having with the Kansas City Chiefs is we've never seen the defense not be able to generate ruckus at a high level like they've been very vanilla this year. Okay, you look back at early on in the season, they've had dysfunction with Chris Jones. Now you start to see, okay, we're in closer games than we intended it to have, and Patrick Mahomes is not able to get us out of this slump. Did Travis Kelce have a good game? Yes, he did. But other issues still arose, and their defense is the nucleus of these type of issues. And in order for them to make a run, their defense does need to type of enhance to be a little better for Patrick Mahomes.
Can I? You mean you said that you have more faith in the Chiefs than you do the Broncos and the Chargers?
Yes. And this is the reason why. If you find a way to get into the playoffs, Dan Orlovsky, I don't give a doggone if it's a wild card or you win the division. Are you willing to bet your money that if the Kansas City Chiefs plays any team in the AFC, that you're going to go against Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, that's obviously a ways away. I still think that there's teams that are plenty capable of beating Kansas City, and I understand what Patrick is and who Patrick is in the playoffs. But there's no way you can tell me. There's no way you can tell me that you think the Chiefs, you trust the Chiefs more than the Broncos. The Chiefs got 6 points yesterday off pass interferences. There were questionable calls. The Broncos defense without Surtain and Singleton completely blanked them.
That's not the question, Danny-O. The question is, if the Kansas City Chiefs were to make it to the playoffs, you're going to take a chance to say a team is going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And yes, I know the statistics if the playoffs started today. Well, good thing it doesn't. It starts in January. We're still in November. If the Kansas City Chiefs finds a way to get into the playoffs, you're willing to take the Denver Broncos if they have to go to Denver or anywhere to play a team, no matter if it's Kansas City or not, or if it's in Kansas City or not, you're willing to take that team over Kansas City Chiefs?
I'll make that decision when that time comes. But like I said, Kansas City's going to have to get in first.
Well, first of all, stop lying, because you know good and damn well if Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs make it to the playoffs, you ain't gonna sit up there and look at Denver and the Chargers and go like this. I think they're gonna
How
lose.
y'all gonna tell me what I think?
You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it.
I absolutely
you're
would.
not gonna do it. Oh, you're gonna sit up there and say Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City are gonna lose to one of those teams in the AFC West come playoff time. I don't believe you.
Denver?
Okay, I'm just gonna tell you, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Now, Denver's fourth-ranked offense in the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying in terms of what they do on drives, but they're like 25th over the first three quarters. We get that part, okay? Their defense is real. I get it. I totally understand it. It's legit. Jaquan McMillan, big-time game last night. 2 sacks, interception. The brother was balling, okay? And this is a dude that might not have been out there if Surtain wasn't injured. So we got to look at that and say, okay, that gives you even more reason to feel high about Denver's defense. But here's what I want to look at with Kansas City's offense. I don't understand what the hell is going on with them. I know they 12-0 last year, including the postseason and one-score games. 0-5 this year. 0-5, okay? That's problematic. I'm looking at a defense. Gave up a touchdown and 3 field goals over the, for the last 5 drives, with Denver. I'm wondering about that. Spagnuolo and that defense. Could you get a stop from someone? Could you do something to prevent them, for crying out loud? I'm looking at that and I'm saying to myself, this is not a good look. I get it. I also saw Rice drop a pass in the first half. I saw Travis Kelce drop a pass in the first half. These are not things I'm accustomed to seeing. But I hearken back to a couple of years ago, Shae, when the Kansas City Chiefs went on the road, okay? And they went in Buffalo, they went to Baltimore, and they went to the Super Bowl. And it's like, yo, we here. You know what? This is a new season. And it's hard for me to just sit up there and say the reign is over. Of course, they ain't going to win the AFC West. I say that much. They're going to get to the playoffs as a wild card. I understand that. But it's hard for me to look at them and say, with the problems I've seen, the Chargers, sort of the way they stunk up the joint yesterday. You look at Denver, the way they stick up the joint for the first 3 quarters for the most part this season on offense. It's hard for me to look at them and say, you know what? Kansas City, I can't see them doing anything. Can't go that far.
I'm with you, and I'm with you. They got to play Indy next week. In 2 weeks, they play Houston. Houston's defense is as good as anybody's in football. They still got to play the Chargers, and they still got to play the Broncos.
Okay, what I thought was
So they
wild.
might not make the playoffs. So they might not make the playoffs. I'm saying if they do.
Okay.
If they do, it's in.
What was wild to me last night is I felt like I saw Kansas City adjust their game plan to Denver's. You saw Patrick Mahomes get the ball out extremely fast. Chris Jones even said after the game in his locker, he's like, I felt like they knew everything we were going to do. Every single defensive coverage we had set up, they knew was coming. And we're accustomed to the opposition adjusting to who they are. So for me, it felt a very different, Andy Reid coming off the bye. It felt like I'm not going to say they weren't prepared, but it felt like a very turning of the tide to see another team basically have a stronghold on exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs were doing. That was just my opinion. But all right, we're going to leave that there. Yesterday, the Rams held on to beat the Seahawks 21-19 in yesterday's fight for NFC West supremacy. LA's defense stepped up in a huge way, picking off Sam Darnold 4 times and keeping Seattle out of the end zone until the closing minutes of the fourth quarter. After the game, Seahawks linebacker Ernest Jones defended his quarterback's poor play. Here it is.
Sam's been balling. Like, if we want to try to define Sam by this game or what, man, Sam's had us in every game. So for him to sit there and say, oh, that's my fault. No, it's not. There was plays that defensively we could have made plays. There were opportunities where we could have got better stops. Yeah, I mean, like, it's football, man. And he's our quarterback. We got his back. And you got anything to say, quite frankly, you.
He might be flipping up the bird here in a minute. I loved that. Didn't love what we saw from Sam Darnold, obviously, yesterday. We've talked about this leading up to this game. We wanted to see him perform big in a big game. Stephen A., what did you make of Sam Darnold's performance?
To Ernest Jones, I'm going to take that. I know he wasn't talking about me, but I'm going to take it as if he is talking about me because I'm the dude that's the culprit when it's going to come to talking about Sam Darnold. I gladly accept that. By the way, I want a teammate like Ernest Jones. I want a teammate that'll have my back like that. I got no issues with him supporting Sam Darnold. More power to him. But that don't mean a damn thing to the rest of us. We talk about football. This ain't Dear Abby. You understand what I'm saying? This ain't some damn therapy session. We're talking about a football game that happened on a Sunday afternoon where Sam Darnold stunk up the joint. Now, I will remind you that this is the same Stephen A. that sat up there and said he was a leading candidate for MVP. But as I had to tell this dude to my right,
No.
zip it. I don't want to hear anything from you. You just be quiet for the next 60 seconds at least, okay?
You're on
You
the
be
clock.
quiet,
You're on
okay?
the clock.
It's going to be longer than that. Here's the point. I've been telling Dan Orlovsky since last year. You know when he came into the locker room and they was pouring water on them like it was champagne?
Cue the video. I know they have it.
Remember, they got it for me, right? They hadn't won a division title yet. I said you still got a division title in the NFC North to win when he was a member of the Minnesota Vikings. I said after that, you got the number 1 seed that you're playing for. You win, you're the number 1 seed because you were 14-2 at the time. You lose, and you're the 5th seed. And you got to go on the road for a playoff game. Not only did you stink up the joint with Detroit having 13 dudes on IR on the defensive side of the ball, not only was that happening, but then you went and stunk up the joint against Los Angeles. And now for the 3rd time, with a money game, because that's what this game was. Everybody walked in pointing out how important this game was. Seattle, LA, Stafford, what you gonna do? 4 interceptions? 4? 3 of them came under pressure? I mean, what's the trend? It's the big game. That's pressure. You apply pressure as opposed to defense, and Sam Darnold shrinks. That's the rep. Okay? So what happened yesterday, 45.5 season worst passer rating. That's the game you picked this to happen? At some point in time, what did I tell you, Dan? I looked you in your face and I said to you, come to me when it matters. Remember I said that? I said, come to me when it matters. This is weeks ago when I had to tell you, when you were sitting there bloviating, beating the quarterback whisperer that you are. The quarterback, that spreads flowers upon quarterbacks. I mean, because if there's a silver lining, you'll find it. I mean, the hell with Silver Linings Playbook with Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence. This brother, Dan Orlovsky, should star in a damn movie. If there's a silver lining to find about a quarterback, this brother will find it, okay? And I tried to tell you, and here we are yet again. It's a big game. Sam Darnold's your quarterback, and even though the brother can play now, we ain't saying he'll scrub now. But no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I wouldn't disrespect. If I call you a scrub, I'll call you a scrub. I know what I'm a scrub, so I know scrubs. The point that I'm trying to make to you, if I felt that way about him, I'd say so, okay? I'd say so. But I'm telling you, that is not what I said about him. All I said was, when it counts, pressure breaks pipes. And boy, was that pipe broken yet again yesterday. That is a fact.
2 minutes and 32 seconds, so longer than 60. Okay, I still believe in Sam Darnold in big games, important games, because it's not like these are standalones. And this team was, 7-2 going into yesterday, or 6-2 going into yesterday? Mm-hmm. They've played in multiple big games. I can't sit here and ignore what happened last year against the Rams and ignore again what happened yesterday.
You can't, because I wouldn't allow it.
I can't ignore it. But Stephen A. is like a vulture. He just waits for this group of quarterbacks. He waits for a couple of these quarterbacks. He doesn't talk about them often when they play well. And every time they play well in games that apparently don't matter, he's always going to be like, yeah, just wait. Let me ask you this, because he does it with Sam. He does it with Josh. He does it with Jared Goff. Yes, I'm 100% right on that. You just wait for them to have the bad game, and then you're like, look at me. I told you that they were going to stink eventually. I'm going to push back to ask you a question. This is an honest-to-God question. Out of the quarterbacks in the NFC, when it comes to the big game or the biggest game or the most pressure-packed game or the winner go home, who do you have zero hesitancy to trust?
Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford.
Okay. There's two.
And possibly a Baker Mayfield.
Hold the phone.
Possibly a Baker Mayfield. Depends on his weapons. I mean, he's got to have his weapons. He's got to have his weapons.
Now he's got to have his weapons.
But he's got to have his weapons.
Now,
I mean, if you ain't got your peeps, you ain't got your peeps.
Yeah.
But we've seen Baker Mayfield win games.
We've seen Sam Darnold win games. We've seen Jared Goff win games.
Not when he really counts.
Who?
Not when it really counts. Stiff competition. Detroit, L.A., now Seattle. L.A. Well, Detroit, L.A. again. L.A. again. L.A. twice.
He's got a Rams problem.
He's got a Rams problem. I think there's only two quarterbacks in the NFC. Two quarterbacks in the NFC, zero hesitation to trust. Other than that, I think it's fair to say that, we want to see you play your very best when it matters the most.
This is how you make your impact. In games like this, Danny-O, you know this. Don't tell me what you're going to do versus the Dolphins. Don't tell me what you're going to do versus the Browns. Don't tell me what you're going to do versus the depleted team. Tell me what you're going to do versus the team when they're at their best in a hostile environment when we need you to play your best. You was inserted here to play how we think you could play or show flashes of you playing, but this wasn't it. We went from saying, Sam, I am, to Sam, I damn. Another interception. So when I look at the Seattle Seahawks, the biggest question is, Sam Darnold will be the reason you do win. But guess what? Sam Darnold will be the reason you do not win as well. And we've seen this type of DNA happen from him. Do I not think that Sam Darnold is well and capable of performing at a high level? Absolutely. But when you start to factor in, hey, let's put a little pressure. Hey, let the intensity of the game rise a little bit. What Sam Darnold are we going to get there? Hey, the odds are against us. Last week, Stephen A., we said this same thing, and they had an opportunity to do so. Are you willing to bet your kitchen sink that Sam Darnold will be the person to allow your team to win late at the end? Because that's how the game is going to go. And funny enough, that's how it was shaping up to be yesterday.
But Cam.
Now, yes, sir.
But Cam, I'll give you the same thing. Like, okay, what guys are then you going to sit and bet the kitchen sink on? That you unequivocally, without hesitation, will do it?
I think that's an evasive question.
It's the same thing.
What does evasive mean?
It's the Jalen Hurts. It's Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford.
Cam, let me chime in here, please. What I mean by it being an evasive question, don't bring up other quarterbacks to gloss over the reality of what we're witnessing. We talked about 4 interceptions yesterday. Yeah. We talked about a Seattle defense that after giving up some points in the first quarter, held L.A. to 1 yard on 3 plays in the entire second quarter. That the only time L.A. had possessions in Seattle territory in the entire second half was based off of turnovers. We're talking about a Seattle team that was still in position to win. If Sam Darnold doesn't turn the ball over, Seattle wins the game.
One last time.
Doesn't win it, Seattle wins the game. So what I'm saying to you is this. I don't want to hear about Hurts. I don't want to hear about Stafford. I don't want to hear about Love. I don't want to hear about Baker Mayfield. I don't want to hear about these other quarterbacks. We're talking about him. We're talking about Sam Darnold. We're saying to you, as good and as talented as he is, and he's in the MVP discussion before yesterday, there's no doubt about it, okay? The fact is that in the big moments, the 3 biggest moments over the last 2 years in his career, he has scored a grand total of 37 points in 3 games. 37 points in 3 games. That's what I'm looking at right now. 2 touchdowns drives, only 1 touchdown pass, and 6 turnovers. Now, come on now. Come on now. You can't escape that. Don't come.
I can't argue against it.
So what I'm saying to you is this. If I go to Dan and I go to Cam and I say to you, yo, all of these moments you produce. Now, listen. Again, if you're a scrub, you're a scrub. You know what scrubs are? It don't matter what the moment is. They scrubs. You just say they ain't producing. That's not Sam Darnold. If you hear on those games against inferior competition, and then the minute somebody shows up and they saying you ain't the bully on the block, we bullies too. What you got? And that's when you wilt. That's a different animal. And you can't get around that, D.O.
I can't argue against yesterday. I can't.
Well, at least you're not trying.
I can't.
Because
I wish I could.
For you. I was prepared for you to be foolish enough to try to argue about
But my
yesterday.
point to you and Cam is this. Let's not put him by himself as he's the only person that you guys view in that category.
Yesterday, we ain't looking at nobody else on Seattle. We ain't looking at anybody else on Seattle.
No, I'm not talking about on the team.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is...
That's what we're talking about, though. Don't bring up anybody. I just been saying you don't bring up the other quarterback.
But you
can't. I just been saying that. I just been saying that.
But Stephen, you can't say, do you believe in the left tackle in big games? You can't. That's not a real question.
No, I could say about a wide receiver. I could say about.
No.
I can say about it. Go ahead, Cam. Go ahead, Cam.
No.
Okay.
So let's give the consistent. This is typical Stephen A. Cam DNA in regards to the playoffs. And let's shift that energy to Sam Darnold, right? What we say, Stephen A. We give you the finger and say, it better not be you.
Can't be you. Don't
right?
let it be you. Don't let it be
yes,
you.
Yesterday, it was as clear as day. It was Sam Darnold's fault.
Sure.
If Josh Allen, if Lamar Jackson, if Patrick Mahomes had that same type of performance, we don't skate around certain things. And even with Ernest Jones standing up for his quarterback, like, that's cool and all.
It's cool.
But everybody knows it was him.
Sure.
And when you have that type of impact as a quarterback specifically, you cannot have these type of blunders when you're throwing the ball into the opposite team's hands 4 times. And you still, the most decimating point about this all is you just lost the game within 1 score. Just imagine what would have happened if you wouldn't even turn the ball over. So that's my thought.
Dismantled him. There's obviously some sort of blueprint here too. Like when he's pressured, we had the stats up. Like he's not good. 34 yards, turning the ball over.
By the way, Shae, the Los Angeles Rams did not have a drive longer than 25 yards over the final 3 quarters. That means all your quarterback has to do is show a pulse. And you win the damn game.
Yeah.
And you win the game.
Style of play.
So Ernest, listen, the defense is real. That brother, applaud him coming to the defense of his quarterback. He should. You understand? And Sam Darnold is an upgrade, and there's no doubt that Seattle is better off with him than without him. He is having an outstanding year, excluding yesterday. But yesterday was a telltale sign. As the moments get big, as the lights magnify, as the pressure mounts,
Vulture.
as